Torah is just a long string of numbers. Some say that it's a code sent to us from God.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's just good stuff. Check this out, okay? The word for the Garden of Eden, Kedem. Numerical translation, 144. Now the value of tree of knowledge, all right, in the garden, right? Eitz HaChaim, 233. 144, 233. And you can take those numbers. So
like the Fibonacci sequence?
Fibonacci
is an Italian mathematician in the 13th century. If you divide 144 into 233, the result approaches theta.
Theta?
Theta. Greek symbol for golden ratio, golden spiral.
Wow. I never saw that before. That's like that series you find in nature? Like the face of a sunflower?
Wherever the spirals.
You see this math everywhere.
Welcome back to the Gnostic Informant, and you are about to attain true gnosis. And joining me today is my partner in crime, who I paid as a apparently I paid you as a private investigator.
This is the brothel.
The
brothel.
All we do is we just rip each other off. We just gamble. We just hoard our money away, and we look at poor people and laugh and go, ha, 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 we have money and you don't. We're the
back alley. It's the back alley.
We just hang out in the back alley all day. Love it. All right. So I want to talk about Greece in a couple minutes and about what's going to happen with the trip to Greece. We're gonna be gone for a whole month, basically. But I've just wanted to get an excuse to go live and get some supers and talk to some people in the crowd and just to get a conversation going. I thought this was an interesting source that Ammon pulled up. And you and I both know what he did. He went to TLG because he learned how to use TLG, which is great. Cool. He learned how to use TLG, and he's doing the tool that you can do in TLG where you can look up multiple words. And what is it? What's the word they use?
Proximity search. Yeah.
Proximity search. So you could type in pharmacon and you can add in Christos or Christ or whatever. And it's gonna give you all the sources that have like a Christ thing going on and a pharmacon over here, and they're close together. So he found this passage. Let's play the clip and we'll discuss it. He played it off like it was like, oh, I've always known. I've been sitting on this. I forgot to tell you about this, but I've always known about it. I just completely, it's just been, I've been so busy. I just, anyways. So you sent it to me in the private chat, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's that bottom link.
I'll share my screen then. That's what I'll do. And whoops, wrong one. So,
and this is addressed to me, or he goes into a yeah.
This is why this is so juicy. Okay,
it's as close as he's gotten to saying my name.
Yes, but he still can't say it because the devil won't let him. Say it.
This is Philoxenus, and he says, "Epita de Pides." Oh, Pides. You see the kitties there? I knew you're gonna see kitties.
All right, I already have to pause it here because you know what the problem with this already is. It's a Pidus. It's not a Neoniskoi. So you found a source that has kids be involved in some sort of I don't know. These Greek lyric poets, there's a lot of pederasty shit going on. You and I were kind of back and forth about this.
Yeah.
But he uses the word Pidus. He's not saying I have a bunch of Niskoi around me, because if he said that, we would go, oh, he's got a bunch of young men around him that are probably 18, 25 years old. But he doesn't say that. He says Pitus, not Niskoi. This, I don't know if Ammon, do you not realize this hurts your whole entire worldview by showing this? Anyways, let's continue.
Epeta de Pitus, niptere dosan katacheron, schemasi, irinomictois. Get that out of there. Clearothalpes, hudor epigeontes. Do you understand what that means? At this,
so a real Greek, like Luke, someone like Luke, if they were doing this, they wouldn't just read the Greek and then go,
"Here's what that means."
Yeah, no, he would go. He would say, first, Luke would be like, okay, let me just put it back on the screen real quick. He would say, okay, epigeontes, and he would say, this is in the aorist form, and it's pluperfect. Like, he would be breaking down the form. He'd be breaking down what's going on. He wouldn't just trust me, bro. I'm gonna translate it on the spot for you. It's gonna be perfect. Watch. No, break down the verbs, break down the nouns, break down the clauses. What's going on?
Or translate.
Yeah, but it's like what he's doing is not what a teacher should be doing. Not, I'm just going to read it in front of you and then I'm going to tell you what it means. No, you didn't break down anything. You know what I mean? This is what he constantly does. This is how he can slip things through. Because if he actually can, I know he can. I'm not saying he can't do this. I know he can do this. He has the ability to, even if he had to prep for 5 minutes before, to break down this entire chapter just like you can. I know Ammon can do this. But the reason why he doesn't do this is because then he'd be stuck to the rules. Then he would have to go, okay, this is in the aorist. So, like, for example, burning purple, when we point out the kaiso is actually not active, it's so it's burnt purple. But so if he actually broke down the Greek, he would have to admit that. He would have to go, kaiso is in this form, so it's not active, so it means it was burnt, not burning. This is how he gets, this is how you can mess with the Greek, by not breaking down what's going down, by just reading it and then going, here's my translation. You can get away with so much murder, right?
Yeah. Well, and the answer to his question of do you know what's going on here is probably no for most people listening, right?
Most people are just going, no, what? Tell us. Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't revealed what any of this pink text is.
Right. Let's want to keep going.
Yeah.
This point in the party, it says the kiddies, the young boys, they brought out water to wash our hands. And they were administering this water that was lukewarm.
Notice how, okay, this is what bothers me about this. You're translating it right now, but you didn't actually show us how you got that. You didn't actually go, here's why here's why the boys are bringing out water, because they're bringing out, and it's in this form. Like I said before, it's almost like I think he just wants people who are not really interested in like the details or the logistics of how he gets to his conclusion. They just want to hear that crazy, dope, fun shit. You know what I mean? They just want to hear, tell us what the kiddies are doing. Tell us something crazy. That they're all just waiting for it. You know what I mean?
Well, and so far his analysis is correct. Like what he said here is totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
That contained an unguent with iris, made from iris. They were pouring it out, and this is the way they were pouring it out. Toson hoson dis echreids. Ectrima tate lampra sin donufe. Wait, what?
He missed. He totally missed that lampra.
Yeah,
lampra. He missed it. Why does he do that so much? He knows we're watching. He knows we're gonna hit him. He knows we're gonna clock him.
He's not on his best behavior. Yeah,
he's missing these easy stresses, man.
Sin donufe.
Look at sin donufe. Why you missed it again, dude?
Yeah.
And this time he didn't even say sin don. He said sin don.
Donufe.
He missed the nufe. Sin donufe, right?
Yeah.
Sin donufe.
Sin donufe. Yeah.
Come on, man. You're missing the stresses, bro. What's going on?
Does everybody see it down here where my little here? Look, people, it's at the top. Sindon ufe.
There you go.
Do you see the sindon?
Actually, still missing.
Wait a minute. What's
Yeah,
the word under the sindon?
Closer.
Hrimata. Hrimata. Do you know what's happened to the sigma in hrimata? It's become invisible like the digamma. This is the chrisma. This is the Christing and the sindon. And this is 400 years before Jesus.
Okay.
Have
What?
you ever heard him enunciate it like that?
What just happened here? You found the word cremata, and you found the word sindonuve, and you just jumps straight off a cliff to the this concludes that therefore I'm right about Mark 14. What just happened? How did we get there? How did we what did we even say yet?
I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who's trying to follow this. Like,
That's what I'm trying to find out. You just showed us some Greek. You showed us that it has the word sindonumfe and it has the word cremata. Okay.
Sindonumfe, just
And then
like
he goes,
let's
and the
hit
way
it.
he got
Yeah.
he was so livid. Like he just found the Holy Grail. Like,
Yeah.
look at this. This is 400. What do you say? 600 years before Jesus?
Before, yeah, he hasn't gotten to that yet.
Yeah. So, and by the way, he's right. These early late Iron Age Greek lyric poets were doing some funny pedarasty symposium type of stuff. The water boys would come out and they would sexually harass them in some of these sources, but I'm going to show you in a couple minutes. I brought some from my own. He's not wrong about this, and he has every right to pull this up to go look. This was part of the culture of the ancient world. He has every right to do that, and I agree with him. I'm following you so far, but I just don't understand what just happened just now that got you so excited. I don't understand what this has to do with anything. All right, let's just want to keep continue. Do you have anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, keep going.
Steps into the breach, and what they're doing is they're applying ambrosia through a Christing.
You and I are going to disagree on this part, I think. But let's let him finish before we talk about it.
God, people. Everybody tells me, they say, you seen down, it's a linen garment that the naked kid is wearing with him.
It is.
Because they know none of these texts. I get
Ammon, my boy. The text tells you that there's cremata, and it tells you that there's the food of the gods, the ambrosia.
Yeah.
It tells you that. Mark 14 doesn't say that this sindon was medically applied. The context is here. This is why I wanted to talk about this. I like this source. I even was telling Stephen we should congratulate him for this source. He was like, "Oh," and I'm going to get to why. I think this is a good source because the context is there. But I think I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit. What do you think? Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
guarantee you that little mealy mouth modern Greek bullshitter, right? That the brothel myth vision hired to say, which they're paid. You gotta understand, this is all cashola.
Gotta get that money. Gotta get that money.
Cashola, dude. They're paid just to get me down. Right. Yeah, this is how I know he's a compulsive liar. Because it's funny. Recently, I actually thought, I publicly announced that I think Ammon's a compulsive liar. And I thought there's no going back from that. When you call somebody a public liar in the public sphere, that's bad. And I thought, did I go too far with that? But then when I see him saying shit like this, and he's just making stuff up, like complete out of the blue, this idea that you're some paid agent or something, this is all cashola, that we're just sitting over here going, hey, we know Ammon's right, but we're getting paid to make sure that everyone thinks he's wrong. Like that's what's going on. You're compulsively lying right now. Because the one who's full of shit, who's grifting for self gain, It doesn't always have to be money, which for you it actually is, because you do funnel this into your Greek courses. But even if we granted that you're not doing this for the money because you didn't monetize your channel, no, you're still getting self-gain. You love the power you have over people. You love the praises. That's why you love going on Danny Jones. You don't care how much money he makes or how many ads he puts on your video or how many times he's got to wait because he's not monetized to drop your video. Or you don't care about the drummer of Metallica or whatever the hell his name is, or guitarist, because he likes you and you don't care that his concerts are $500 to $1,200, all the way in the back seat, $500 just to barely get in, and then $1,300, $1,800 just to sit in normal seats. You don't care about that. Or that Metallica was in the forefront of the whole Napster thing. People were just trying to download free music, and Napster was like, no, you can't do that. You got to pay $30 for my CD. You don't care about that because they like you and they're praising you, and you love that praise. It's just narcissism. You love the crowd telling you that you're the greatest. Oh, Ammon, Christ me. You love that power. So don't act like you're not doing this for self-gain. You're not, because you are. And so let's continue.
Right, all those guys. Bart Ehrman, those guys are paid.
I agree with that about Bart Ehrman.
I'm in the ranks of Bart Ehrman and his view.
Good. That's good. That's why he won't debate you, because he scare you.
This is a circus, people. And what did they say? Didn't pass Greek. Doesn't pass Greek 101. You know why?
Wow.
Because you're an idiot.
Man, this is not good. This is not a good look, dude. If you're in an online beef, you never let him see you sweat, my brother. You letting him see you sweat right now. Changing up your voice, acting like you're mad about a thumbnail, dude. It's a thumbnail. It was a joke.
Man,
come on,
we really got under his skin with that thumbnail.
You're letting your guard down here. This ain't the Muse. The Muse doesn't make people do sits. They make people look at his face right now. That's not the Muse. Anyways,
who's using your tiny exposure to modern Greek to translate 3,000 years of drift, moron. You've never read. I'm looking at you in the face, bonehead. You've never read Philoxenus. I guarantee it. Did it go out? You'd never read Philoxenus, people.
By the way, I have read Philoxenus. I actually have the whole collection of the ancient Greek lyric poets in here. We have just some fragments. They don't have a lot. It's not like this is like one of the the all-time like Homer and Euripides. I mean, it's like one of the great Greek lyric poets from back in the day. Don't get me wrong. Heavily cited, heavily mentioned by sources that talk about the Greek poets. He's up there with Pindar and all those greats. Archilochus.
Athenaeus cites him.
Yeah, Sappho. He's one of those greats. But like, don't act like this is something that you discover that no one knows. Philoxenus is Philoxenus, one of the Greek poets. Like if you know the Greek lyric poets, you'll be familiar with the few fragments of Philoxenus that we have. This is nothing. What you just did here is you went on TLG, you did a proximity search, and then you pretended that you've been sitting on this and waiting to drop it because that's how smart you are or something. It's like, dude, you're not fooling anybody. Maybe you're fooling a few people, but not normal people.
None of these people. I'm telling you, people. Okay, let's go back. Do a little bit more. I want to see. Let's go forward and see what he says about Medea.
Yeah, I think that's the end of this.
Okay, so I don't understand what the triumph was. Do you have the Greek for? They want to break down the Greek?
Yeah, I have the Greek.
All right. Is it on your stage? On your stage?
Not yet. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. I'm going to share.
I'm trying to find out what was and there was a cool source, and I'm going to grant what I can grant, like as far as what I think is going on here. If I had to steel man him, but I want to get your thoughts on this first.
All right. Can you see this? I pulled a translation from because this is on Loeb. Can you see this? Am I sharing?
Yeah, I can't. How come I can't get it up on the stage before presenting a screen? Oh, I got to remove the other media. That's why. Okay, there we go.
All right, you see it now?
Yeah.
All right. So,
if you could,
Philoxenus.
So,
so let me read the English. Right, I'm not going to do some Harry Potter incantation with the Greek. And when we friends had finally reached our fill of food and drink, and attendants cleared away, and then boys gave us water to wash our hands, pouring it comfortably warm over soap powders mixed with iris oil, that's the unguent, as much as one wished, and they gave us shining linen towels and ointments, ambrosia perfumed, and garlands of fresh violets, the flowers.
Nice. And that's
Yeah.
got that yo is actually a color too. It's one of the
Iothalis is the masculine adjective. Iothaleas. So it is que Stephanus.
You know where I'm going with this. Burning purple, right?
Yeah. So it's Stephanus. So they're garlands, they're crowns, right? Stephanus Iothaleas, right? So they have violets interlaced in the garlands.
If I was to steal, because he never actually explains why this was such a great verse. He just
he didn't say anything about the violets in the.
He just goes on. It was weird. I think he forgot to like really make his case. But if I had a steel man in here, okay, you haven't. This is, first of all, we're dealing with a lyric poet from a time where pedarasty was rampant, and when the boys came and gave water and wine and food on platters, these boys were little slaves. They were little servants. This is common throughout the sources. I'm going to get to that later, but I'm just setting the stage right now. So you find this fragment of Philoxenus, and it's got boys bringing out water. Okay, so Ammon's thinking that these boys are somehow involved in some sort of ritual that's going on here, and the ritual is that they bring out sindones. And because it's now here's where this is where he loses me, because it's a sindone, therefore it's Christed with ambrosia. Now, if you're not familiar with ambrosia, ambrosia is a famous ancient Homeric drug or food of the gods. It's sometimes called pharmacon, sometimes it's called the food, but it's basically it is a substance that makes you get eternal life. It is. I actually have a source where there is a mortal boy, young boy, who is given the ambrosia, Christed with the ambrosia, anointed with the ambrosia, and made into a god through fire too, which is the Homeric hymn. So what Ammon is doing here is he's seeing the imagery. It might not be explicitly telling you that there's some ritual going on, but he thinks in his mind that all the elements are here. The boy is there. He's a water boy, and they're bringing out sindones, and there's Christing and ambrosia with this image of purple in their garlands.
Well, he said they're administering, right? So what are they administering?
Apparently, they're administering the sindones with the Christing of the ambrosia on it.
He said that they're administering the water. So that's the hudor, right? Like idor.
So he's saying that water
has ambrosia. It's infused with ambrosia and the Christing of the ambrosia, because it's a primata, which is problematic for this text.
Now, if we granted everything, let's just say we were there to pull up Philoxenus from the grave and ask him, this guy here, Ammon, thinks that this is what you meant by this passage, and he was like, "Holy shit! I didn't even really make it explicit, but that's exactly what I meant. I can't believe he figured me out like that. What if let's just go with that? Then, if we granted everything, the sindone is telling you, or the sindone that they're getting, sindonymphe, is a towel, and it's telling you that they're also giving you ointments that are ambrosia perfume. You don't have to add that stuff because it's a sindone. Does that make sense? So, like, here you have the context telling you what's going on, and I'm just saying if we were to grant that this was going on, I'm not saying that's the case. Either way, the text is still telling you about ointments, about ambrosia, and about these boys or whatever. You don't have to make these up in like in Mark 14. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think what he is implying is that because the word sindon is a compound in sindonifi, right? Sindonife, whatever. that means that it is an instrument of the administration of the Christing of the ambrosia, right? Is that? I mean, he doesn't say that. He doesn't explain actually what his interpretation is.
No.
So I can only guess at what dots he's connecting because he does not make that clear.
That's why I was guessing, trying to steel man for you. So if that's his argument, that's why I said, for the sake of argument, let's just say he's spot on for some reason, even though I don't see that. You're still looking at a text that gives you all the elements. You don't have to just having sindone alone does not mean that it's ointment that has ointment on it or that it's perfumed. You have to have that in the source. You can't just add that yourself. So when we go to Mark 14, he's got a sindone on. The sindone is the burial wreath. That's why sindonology is the study of burial cloths. It's called sit. There's a whole science behind it. It's not the study of medicated towels.
Yeah, and it's translated in the LSJ as garments with reference to the Gospel of Matthew. That's
another thing that you and I have been discussing that he does is he loves to appeal to scholarship. He loves using LSJ. That's scholarship. You're going into these lexicons and you're looking at when certain words were used in certain contexts, and you're like digging through and you're appealing to scholars on this. But then when he finds other scholarship he doesn't like, it's because they're all being trained wrong and they're all sort of in on this whole idea that, there's nothing to see here, like that type of thing. But like, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to appeal to scholarship, which is the LSJ, and you're gonna appeal, like, go with it or not. You can't just pick and choose which scholarship you like and don't like.
Now, what do you notice about how ambrosia is used in this passage?
So this is where I think you and I will disagree. It's ambrosia perfumed.
Okay. Why is that? Why isn't it just ambrosia? Where are you getting that?
So ambrosiodma.
Yep.
Ambrosiodma. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's not your, so I already knew you were going to say this. It's not necessarily ambrosia here.
Well, okay. You ask yourself this. Do you think that Philoxenus is describing a banquet or a symposium that took place in real life where people are putting a substance that he refers to as ambrosia in their, like, on their hands after they wash their hands? Do you think they're using real, like, this is real ambrosia? No. Because if that were the case, he would use the word ambrosia, right? Ambrosia.
He would say ambrosia, right? There'd be no reason to have that the odma at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And
There'd
then
be no reason. You would not. It just doesn't make any sense. You're taking it. This is what I meant, Stephen. This is what I meant when I kept pausing and going, notice how he doesn't actually break down the Greek. He just shows you the buzzwords. Look, cremata. Look, ambrosia. Look, sindone. And then he hopes that you're going to just assume that it means what he thinks, but he didn't actually break down the word ambrosia odma, which means, and I agree with you.
Ambrosia odmos, yeah.
Yeah, there's just not as explicit as the Demeter hymn. I'm going to pull that up in a minute.
Well, consult LSJ. What does LSJ say here? Citing Philoxenus 2:43.
The smelling of ambrosia.
Smelling of it means it smells like it. So it's just it's reminiscent of the smell of ambrosia. It's not, they're not administering water that's laced with ambrosia.
Right.
And I think the important thing to keep in mind here is that in this hand washing ritual, there's 3 stages. Obviously, the boys give them water to wash their hands. They're pouring the lukewarm water over their hands to wash, right? Over soap powders mixed with iris oil. So there is some kind of mixture in this water to make it fragrant, right? As much as one wished, like toson osontis echris. Then they gave us shining linen towels, right? Sindonofi means like lambra. So it's ektrimata. So like if you look up, like, let's go to LSJ. All right, let me go to Perseus Tufts just to make, because I'm just not making things up, people. Like, just, you could see. Look up ektrima, right? Ektrima. A definition is a sore caused by rubbing. But then in Philoxenus, again, they're citing this text.
Same source that we're looking at.
It's a rubber, which is it's not a condom, guys. It's it's British for something you rub your hands on, right? It's a towel. It is a towel because in this stage of the hand washing ritual, they are now drying their hands on a towel, not a medicated bandage or a medicated wrap that goes on the private part that's impregnated with a drug. If that were the case, what?
Notice how if you presuppose all this stuff before you enter the text, it's so clear. But when you just stop doing that, stop presupposing anything. Just look at the Greek, break it down, break down the forms. It doesn't say what you think anymore. You have to in order to see it that way, all of that has to be presupposed before you even get to the text. That's what he's doing. That's why he didn't have to explain it. All he had to do is tell his audience, here's cremata right next to Sindone and right next to Ambrosia. And that was it. He didn't have to say anything after that. They all got the message. That's all they. I'm surprised he didn't say anything about those violets on the bottom, because Hesychius is very clear on this idea of this Bacchic chant and using the term violet interchangeably with it. But anyways,
so basically it's a three-stage ritual hand washing. They pour the water over their hands that's infused with some with iris powder. They are then given the towel to dry their hands, and then they rub an ointment on their hand, right? That's a crimata. That smells like ambrosia, whatever that means. I was accused of not reading Philoxenus. I went through and read this whole fragment in Greek and English. And by the way, we have it here in Loeb, right? If you don't trust the translation, I showed on screen.
It's not a hard text to find.
Yeah. So again, it's shining linen towels and ointments, ambrosia perfumed, the garlands. Like, I just don't get it.
So he just flat out asserts that the drugs on the bottom, let's just go with it, the ambrosia, perfume, Christing drugs, whatever those are, that those are the unguents that are in the water that the boys gave them. Without any evidence.
I think no. I could steel man that.
Okay.
So it's the iris oil. I believe that, the iris oil, if there's an oil there, that is what is infused in the water that they're pouring over their hands. It's idinomictis, right? So it's mixed with iris. So I don't know if that the way they've translated it with oil. Yeah, I guess there could be an unguent in the water, but the chremata at the end, that is the final process after they've dried their hands. Now they're anointing their hands with oil. It's part of this banquet. It's pretty clear. Like, this isn't like controversial. This isn't like, scholars argue about this. This is not a weird text. There's nothing like and there's no pederasty involved. There's just, first of all, the very first young boy servant in this text, in this fragment, is referred to as a paidiscos, right? Paidiscos.
Yes.
After that, they're referred to as children, right? They're paides. But that doesn't speak to their age. That just is because they're servants. They're like the boys. Go get the boy, bring the boy over here. We don't know how old they are really. Like, if they're young kids, fair enough, but they're not getting molested in this scene. This is just not happening.
And by the way, and that's another point that I was going to make. And there's tons of sources where there's pederasty going on. Actually, I can pull some up real quick just to show you that, like, I don't get his why he does this, but I sort of see his point of view as he's going, this was rampant. It was everywhere in the Greek lyric poets. And if there's a boy delivering water, he must have been part of some symposium. There must have been, he sort of adds on layers that he finds in other sources, such as something like this, right? I'll give you an introduction to Strato. Strato was one of these Greek lyric poets who wrote, this is straight up where he writes this: I delight in the prime of a 12-year-old, but a 13-year-old is far more desirable. He who is 14 is still a sweeter flower of the loves, and one who is just beginning his 15th year is even more delightful. The 16th year belongs to the gods, and as for the 17th year, not for me to seek, but for Zeus. But whoever desires still older is no longer playing, but seeking a lover who says, now let me do it with you. Okay, I just wanted to show you, just give you an introduction to what this guy's about. And he says stuff like, alla parora, blepo kepi ton udarkood. I oogle. This is how they translated it. Basically, I fondle, or I mess with, or I guess, or like I pick on, or hit on, maybe. I oogle to the boy who pours the water. So there you go. You have a water boy, and it's from Strato, and so I'm trying to show people where he's coming from. However, at the end of the day, the source doesn't say it necessarily that there's any sort of pederasty going on, but this is where we can disagree. I think in some of these Greek lyric poets, in some cases, you can't assume there might be something like that going on. Maybe not with Philoxenus, but
Philoxenus.
I think there's it's not out of the question, because if this is the type of symposium party that he's at, then it would be totally within the culture. You know what I mean?
But I think I think people in the comments are thinking, okay, well, Iris has some drug property, and Ambrosia, like they're all getting high basically in the symposium. I think that's what the Ammonites want to draw from.
They want it all to be in one spot for you. That's what they want.
Yeah.
But what they have is they have some sort of jigsaw puzzle thing going on, where they go to the PGM and they find a source about a virgin, and they go to another PGM source and they find a thing about a purple thing being put into a vagina, which is in the PGM, by the way. Yeah. And then they find another source where it says burning, and then they find another source where it does this, and they put it all together, and they say Mark 14 is doing all these things at once. What the hell kind of methodology is that? But anyways, look at this. Look how sick Strato is on the bottom. I loathe a boy who won't be hugged and kissed, raises his voice and hits me with his fist. Nor do I wish the wanton willingness of one who in my arms at once says yes. What? Think about this. I like one in between who seems to know the secret of saying at once yes and no. Like, he's like, I like little boys that resist me a little bit. What the hell, dude? This is nuts. And look, Ammon's immersed in this stuff. Yeah. So this is what he sees, and then he goes to the other sources, and when he sees a little boy giving water, he's thinking he's one of these little pides.
But why doesn't he just focus on the sources that are explicitly nasty?
Because then you're not discovering anything. Ammon wants to. Ammon's trying to be. Look what I discovered that no one else discovered. That's his thing. If he pulled up this source right here from Meleager says, like a young. By the way, this one he says young boy. What a sweet dream. But if you actually look at the Greek there, paidos. He uses the word paidos. So so you can see it in all these pederasty sources.
But you're skipping though. He says octokedeketus paidos, right? So he's saying an 18-year-old child.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's interesting that even at 18, they're not even using Neonisko here. And this is the reason why I pulled up this source is just to I went through about 50 epigrams yesterday, 50 of them that had some sort of pederasty thing going on. And guess how many of them used the word Neonisko? Can you guess? 0. Not one of them. And any of the pederasty sources that I pulled up uses the word Neoniskoi and always uses the word pidus. Because that's what real pederasty is. Pederasty, not Neoniskoi.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a big difference there. All right. So real quick, before I go to the next thing we're going to respond to, I just want to pull up a few more passages real quick. So Theocritus, this is an interesting source that I found because he has a lot of pederasty stuff going on too. But in this source, it's a hymn. It's called the Panpipe, and it mentions the horned one who was nurtured by the bull father, Tauropator. And it says right here, who loved the voice dividing girl, swift with human speech, him who put together a shrill sound for the violet crowned, Iostefano. That's that violet crown that we just saw in the other source, right?
Yeah.
Muse to represent this fiery love. All right. So I don't know even know why I brought this one. Let's keep going.
You brought it up because it says violet crowned and it's
Yeah, I was looking at
resembles what we had. Yeah.
Violet Crown. That's why I started another example of that. All right. So Theocritus obviously has some dirty stuff going on too. And by the way, this is Hellenistic. We're getting close to the time of the Gospels. This is 3rd century. Well, I guess we're still centuries away. But I mean, in comparison to these way older Greek lyric poets, this is a little bit newer. This is Hellenistic, Alexandrian, and pederasty culture is still going on. And obviously they So he says like he knows that Aratus is burning in his every bones with love for a boy. The reason why I'm bringing these up is to show, look, I get it. I see these sources too. I know that this stuff is going on. Right here, you have Theocritus saying once again, I have been in the grip of a cordon passion for a boy. He is only moderately handsome, but from top to toe, he's complete charmer. Like this is, they just brag about sexually harassing these little kiddos. It's kind of wild. So like, I'm just pointing this out. Look, I'm not oblivious to why Ammon's going in these dark corners. I see what he's seeing. I'm trying to like show you this. Look at this one. Ebony, gold, eagles of white ivory, bearing to Zeus, son of Kronos, a boy to pour his wine, and purple coverings above, softer than sleep. I just thought that was a funny one. And then so look at this one right here. Before I go on to the next Ammon's thing. Dear Adonis, this is a dying and rising god source that I found. I just happened to find this when I was looking through Theocritus. Dear Adonis, you are the one and only hero who they say who visits both Acheron, which is Hades, the underworld, and the world here above. Neither Agamemnon nor mighty Ajax, the wrathful hero, achieved this, nor Hector, oldest of Hecuba's 20 sons, nor Patroclus, nor Pyrrhus, though he got back from Troy, nor even in earlier times Lapiths and the sons of Deucalion, nor the descendants of Pelops, nor the Pelasgian leaders of Argos. This is how serious Adonis is. And he says, you're the only one who can go down in the Hades and rise back up again. Look on us with favor next year too, dear Adonis. We have received you joyfully, Adonis, and you will be dear to us when you come again. Look at that. So Christ has died, Christ has risen, Adonis will come again. Get it? I'm just kidding. All right. So the last thing I wanted to pull up, and as far as this burning purple thing, I got one more thing. I want to respond to more of Ammon stuff, and then we're talking about Greece. So this passage right here in Homeric hymn, this is a big one. This is a big one for Ambrosia when it comes to Ambrosia. So this is the translation that we get from Loeb. Just gonna skip through it real quick. It says that Demophon, whom fair Grit Metanera had borne, and grew like a divine being, though he ate no food and sucked no mother's milk, for by day fair garlanded, Demeter would anoint him, Christ him. That's I'm looking for the word over here. Kriisk. She would kriisk him. Look at this word right here. Ambrosie. So here you have and Demeter is literally Christing him with ambrosia, as if he were the son of a god. Woo! Do you see it? Oh God! Do you see it? Oh God! Oh, I feel this one. Okay, this is a good one, right? This is a good one that actually tells you in the source the context is there. There is no, I don't have to guess if it's ambrosia or if they're being Christed. It tells you, Kriisk ambrosie. She anoints him with ambrosia as if he were the son of a god, breathing her sweet breath over him as she held him in her bosom, while each night she would hide him away in the burning fire like a brand without his dear parents. Now, she's making him immortal, baby, and she's using ambrosia to do it. So now you can see why I brought this source up, because Ammon is seeing this ambrosia. There's people becoming gods with the use of this stuff, people being Christed with it by gods, like they're the son of God, right? And then you see all these other sources where there's pederasty and there's water boys and this. But why not put it all together and then say this is what Philoxenus is saying? That's what I think he's doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's probably the best steel. I think I couldn't steelman that any better. What do you think about this passage, by the way? Any thoughts on this?
No.
No thoughts?
No thoughts.
It's a good one though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all the elements that you need for like the Ammon theory. What should we call it? The
burning
purple theory. Yeah. All right. So here's the next passage we're gonna look at, or our video.
Pirating here. You see what's in the highlight? Leisato. Right? Leisato. See the umlaut above the iota? It's because the ancient.
How is that? I can see how people like him so like. You see that above the iota?
You see that? I see that.
He loves that shit.
Grammarians tell us
he loves digammas and he loves iota subscripts. Just because, just loves that shit. Is like he gets like high off of it.
They told us this. It's trisyllabic word, right?
He told us this.
Ace or listis with a modern Greek vowel that's been lost its guts. And how do I know that? Because I read the grammarians. It's a trisyllabic word. This is Odysseus here. What's he trading? And he's got the same thing. People, do you remember the slave women that he kills in the end, who were trying to betray him? His daddy's name. Think about his daddy's name. It's Mr. Booty, as in slave. What are you doing? He's pirating here. Was
that it?
Yeah, and then there were a few of the same. I skipped to the next part where he brought it up.
On the next link?
Yeah, the next link.
Okay, we'll keep going then.
Just trying to focus on where he's basically not saying my name, but at least challenging me to regarding this because here we go.
By the way, this is like a poetic expression. It's a couple of lines that are used not only in the Odyssey, but also in Homeric hymns. So, Leisteris, right? Oh, God.
Why did he hold that L so long?
I think what he's doing is he wants you to think that the diaresis, which he calls an umlaut, the two dots over the iota, he wants his audience to believe that is the stress mark. Like that's where the emphasis goes.
Isn't the Byzantines the one that made all those marks and the Attics didn't even do that shit?
Yes, but this would have been an iota add script. So that the iota there gets its own syllable, right? It stands apart. So it's lei, right? So it's leisteres. But he wants it to actually get the emphasis because this all stems from the fact that he says sindon and leistes. Those are his words, right? Sindon and leistes.
He has to fight for that for some reason.
And because I've come out to make it clear that these are disyllabic words. They have two syllables, which means it's a coin toss. They're either pronounced on the emphasis is either on the first syllable or it's on the second syllable. And he's getting it wrong. He's putting on the first syllable. It's fine. It's not like the end of the world. But because I have pointed this out, he is now doubling down and tripling down. And he really wants to be like, he's not going to change his pronunciation. He's not going to be like, Stephen is wrong about 99%, or, this person that I won't say his name is wrong about 99% of things. But this 1%, I'll grant him, I've been mispronouncing it and I'm going to fix that. He's never going to do that.
No.
So now he's doubling down, and now he's
that's
over.
A narcissist would never admit defeat. Do you think, like when Trump lost the election in 2020, never will he admit that ever?
Yeah,
it was a stolen election. Like that's how narcissists think. They have to be right no matter what.
Yeah. So now that you have the word sin don with the stress over the second syllable, he is now just coming out and saying sin don, and he's saying lay stays.
See, I
and
was right
he's
the whole time.
yeah. And so play the third clip is where he
There's still more
cites
in the clip.
Herodian.
Want to
Oh, yeah,
finish it off? Okay, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So play this one at the end of that clip, I think.
They do. They wander over the state. They're trafficking. And so bringing, this is what we're looking for when we question the stranger. Are you going to be one of these type of people? What happens to the people? Yeah, next one. What happens to the people who traffic in other people? People like Abraham. They're always involved in wars and going and getting your shit back. Do you understand? There were people killed in that. So our leistes is not just somebody. By the way, this is like a poetic expression.
Okay, now go to the final link.
Okay. Final link. There it is.
This is Philoxenus, and he says, "Epita de
wait.
Paedes."
Wait, is there
No,
another?
not the final. No, I mean, yeah, there's 3 in the private chat link.
Yeah. All right. Here it is.
Leisato. Wait, the first one. No, the first one.
Oh, so we never used the first one. Okay, that's why.
I don't think
was
you- yeah, I
wondering.
don't
I
think
was
you played the
in
first
order.
one.
I figured. Oh, I see the fragment.
Yeah.
It's
Did
the
that-
grammarians, isn't it? Gorgeous. Now we got a couple more. Now I promise you, I'm gonna make Jesus disappear. Right? I think it's time. Let's see. Does the congregation want to see? And by the way, you in the congregation, if you have not yet spent 1,000 hours with the incubus, what are you doing? What are you
Just gaslighting his audience. You guys are not as good as me. Just keeps fun.
doing? Get on it. People, here's the grammarian, by the way. Here's the grammarian. Somebody using modern Greek pronunciation. Listis, right? Using modern Greek pronunciation. Tried.
What's ironic about that is that that aorta sort of brings that up in that direction anyway. You know, you're just saying it faster.
I'm just what?
You're just doing it faster.
Well, no, because it's actually disyllabic in Attic Greek. So what Herodian is actually indicating here is in the Ionic dialect, leistes is trisyllabic. That's unusual because for an Attic Greek speaker, it would be disyllabic. It would be 2 syllables. So it's still 2 syllables in modern Greek. It's just that the eta has become ita and it's listis in modern Greek.
Right.
It's a real word. That's just the word never left the language. It's still there.
Yeah.
It's just the pronunciation
Had to
changed.
correct me. Here it is, right? Look at it, people, and notice what this grammarian says about it. It is trisyllabic. We're going to have to make it 3 syllables long. Do you understand? I can show you variants of words where of the same word. You got one word where the accent jumps across syllables. That's what's happening here. When that iota comes out, it drags the syllable.
He just made that up, didn't he?
Yeah, that is complete nonsense.
Because just because that's trisyllabic doesn't mean that in the sources where this word shows up in like a Hellenistic Koine text, doesn't mean that you change how it is based on the fact that it's trisyllabic. You still have to pronounce the word based on how it is in that text.
It's oxytone. That means the accent is on the final syllable. The accent doesn't change because it's trisyllabic.
When you get to the Gospels, leistes is spelled leistes, not leistes.
It's spelled with an iota subscript.
Like he's just speaking fluff right now. I don't know if
the thing is though, his pronunciation leistes is disyllabic. That is 2 syllables. Leistes. It just has the emphasis on the first syllable rather than the second syllable. That's the only difference. But he wants to now say that it's
what I'm saying is here they're showing it trisyllabic.
yeah.
So
Here
if it's
Apollodorus
not
is
shown as trisyllabic, then it's not trisyllabic, right?
here Apollodorus is explaining that most words, I could actually show a full-blown source. We'll play this to the end and I'll explain what
Right? What does that
Herodian is
mean?
saying.
Causes it to have more weight.
How's it have
Right?
more
The
weight?
accent is moved.
The accent has not moved.
This is a grammarian who's talking about it. This is the stuff I read. Go play your fucking games somewhere else. Did everybody see that? Was that a bump in the road? I think that was a bump. Right? Okay, keep going.
Is
Okay.
that it?
Yeah, that was it. So
Because he kept saying that the stress moved, but it doesn't show that. And it's not even explained that way by the grammarian.
yeah. So this is what the grammarian says. So he's saying that no masculine disyllabic noun ending in tis or tes is
Basically,
accented
full
on the
screen.
final syllable, except what?
Full screen it.
Except krites, right? Kritis. So this is an exception, krites, and he says for leistes, right? Leistes is trisyllabic. Therefore, it has the iota placed before it, right? Before the syllable that gets the accent. But psaltes is Attic and is accented on the final syllable, as Apollodorus records. So the stress didn't move. You're getting the diaresis on top of that iota because in the Ionic form, it is leistes. And you can see this in, let me show one more source, because this is an interesting topic here. Here you have the Orator's Education that also points out that leistes, right? Leiste here. These are iota adscripts, right? The noun form it's from leizo, right? Or leisdo, is in fact disyllabic in Attic, right? It's leistes in Attic, but it has 3 syllables in Ionic and in poetic texts, right? That's what's going on. The accent is not moving.
This is my question for you though. When it has those 3 syllables in Ionic and in poetic text, does it show the iota?
Yes, the iota is the adscript iota, full-blown iota on the line.
Either it's there or it's not. This is so simple.
Well,
right?
There are some complexities to it because the iota adscript on the line went under the vowel, so like it goes under the eta. So like here's what
Right.
Sidney Allen says about it in Vox Graeca, right? The
voice of the Greeks.
Yeah, this is like the go-to resource for classical Attic pronunciation in the field. And he shows that Quintilian implies, Quintilian is the source we just saw, that in a form such as leiste, right, the iota was in both cases purely orthographic, right? They're writing the iota under there to indicate that it was a, but eventually it stopped being a and just started being a. Like basically it's a symbol you put there to say, this used to be pronounced a long time ago, but we don't pronounce it anymore. That's what that iota subscript was in the post-classical period, when it stopped being pronounced as a diphthong a. And another good source for this is Luke Rainieri's pronunciation chronology, right? So here you can see that the eta, maybe just have to zoom in on this. Can you see this?
Yeah. And by the way, you can just cut through the bullshit because the stress mark is still showing you where to stress.
The stress never moved. But the point,
you don't just get to move it in your head because of some grammarian that you don't get to move stress marks around in your own head.
Yeah, and we've asked Luke to weigh in on this so that I don't have to be the one doing it, because Luke is like really, really good at this stuff, and he made this crazy spreadsheet that everybody should go download. But here he shows that the eta with the subscript in the classical period is a. It's a diphthong until you hit the Hellenistic period, when it just becomes a. and it's no longer a diphthong a. And then look, right when you hit the Byzantine period, like around the fourth.
I like using the diphthong. I like the diphthong.
Yeah. So, and there's no reason not to use it. But once you hit the Byzantine period, 4th century AD, it goes to E. And I know he's making fun of me for this, but anytime
modern Greek is not that, like, it does have roots pretty far back.
Yeah, the 4th century BC. That's a long time ago. It's been
still part of antiquity.
It's been pronounced E going all the way back in time up until the modern period. Like there's not a whole lot of difference between the modern pronunciation and the Byzantine pronunciation.
Byzantine grammarians that are writing the stress marks are using closer to you than they would be to Attic.
Yeah, they would probably speak Greek similar to the way I speak Greek.
Yeah.
So that's
all these Greek anthologies are coming from, all those Byzantine grammarians, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you look at LSJ, the LSJ also points this out. It's listis for me, right? Leistes for you. Ionic is trisyllabic, leistis, right?
And there it is. You see, notice how the iota is there, and it's got your double, you know what I mean? But it still has the grave on the eta.
Yeah, so he's saying that the iota gives it more weight. That's true. It's a, right? A, not a, not short. It's a. It's long, but but
you're still stressing the tes at the end.
Yeah.
Leistes.
And then you see Doric here would be either leistes or lastes.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's lots of variety.
Even under that grammarian's trisyllabic thing, it's still stressing at the end.
Yeah.
So, all right, we beat that one down. I hope people followed along with that one. I don't think it was that complicated, right?
Well, and I have a clip of the horse's mouth, like Ammon Hillman explaining pronunciation correctly.
Want to play it?
Sure.
Yeah, all right, real quick, I do have a super chat. Oh, by the way, Derek was like, "You're the brothel, so I won't listen to you guys anymore." Derek, you're the one who owns the brothel, dude. We're your employees. Remember, you paid us.
It's brothel. It's brothel.
Agents. Sabao. Thank you for the super chat. Does purple get used in Christianity?
Purple drugs. Do purple drugs get used in Christianity?
Yeah. The answer is actually yes. According to Hippolytus, who writes about this heretic named Marcus the Valentinian, successor of Valentinus himself, pretty high up in the church. He's responsible for being the leader of a sect called the Marcosians, who were the first major church network in France. Pretty interesting shit, right? So we're talking mid-2nd century, something like that, 150s, maybe 160. And he gets charged with putting a purple substance in the Eucharist. And he was giving it to women specifically, it says. And it was a false spirit. He was injecting them with a false spirit through the use of magus tricks. They call him a magus. He's a dark magus, Marcus the Magus. So yes, it does. Now, this is what I'm glad you asked me this question, by the way. This is a great question. The people will say this to me all the time. Well, how come you know this and you talk about this, but you reject Ammon still? And the answer is simple. In that source, it tells us what Marcus is doing. I don't have to guess. I don't have to inject my own theory. In Mark 14, it doesn't say anything about purple drugs. It doesn't say anything about pharmacon at all. So I don't have the ability to just go, okay, I think it's happening here because I want it to be happening here. I go one text at a time. I'm aware of all these crazy sources, and I love talking about it. I'm not hiding it from anybody. I'm not defending any narrative about the Bible, but I'm just saying, in this particular case, Hippolytus is telling us that Marcus is using a purple drug and he's putting it in the Eucharist. There it is. It's all the context is there. No need to guess. In Mark, there is no indication that anything purple or burning or prepubescent anything is going on there. That's why I can't grant that extra step. So I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
So you gotta
yeah.
Is this your ready to go?
United States, west of the Mississippi River in the 20th. That's what we're using. We're not going to use the original because the original Greek was accented via tone, right? Oh God, it had a pitch accent to it. And what are you going to do? We don't have that, right? We are stress accent speakers. We are marching in a single line. The Greeks are not. Philosophia. Look at that phi that starts out this word.
Right.
Philosophia. Now,
I think it's not the right time for this. I guess the audio is not synced up.
Oh, really?
It looks like. Did the audio look good to you? Because it looks off to me.
I was looking away I was looking at the comments.
Yeah, the audio is off. Let me see if I have it in the original file, and I won't play it in the browser. Okay, yeah. All right. Let me see if I can do it this way.
Tiger Shark says the syndonology is the study of the Shroud of Turin. Why would you believe a Christian form of the study for the Greek text?
Christian form of study for the Greek text.
So the word syndonology came out of the study of a shroud. That's why it's called syndonology, because the shroud is what was. It doesn't have anything to do with medication, is what I was saying before. That's why I brought up syndonology. If syndone was just specifically medicated bandages, then why would they use that term for the study of the burial shroud? Like, syndone is not a rare word that's like only found in Ammon sources. It's all over. It's in tons of sources, and it's usually used for mummies, burying the dead. It's a burial cloth. It's like mummy wrap. That's what a syndone basically is. You know.
Well, let's show this. Let's just look at LSJ real quick.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way. Like, right, we have sindon, right? Not sindon. And it's either a fine cloth, usually linen, and then there are, in combination with the word telamones, right? It can be used for strips. You could say strips of fine cloth, right? They could be bandages here. It's surgeon's bandages in definition A, but why is everybody ignoring definition 2 that explicitly refers to Matthew 27:59? These are the Victorians. This is you took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and this is under the garment. Anything made of such cloth, such as garments, and then like
we said a million times, if the source says they took the syndone and Christed it with pharmacon. If it says that, then you have it. Then you have it. If it doesn't, you don't. It's like, okay, this cup. Does that mean I'm holding water in my hand because I'm holding a cup? But wait a minute. All these sources that say cups are used to hold water in. So shouldn't I say this is the same as water, right? No. Unless I tell you this water in the cup, there's no water in the cup. It's the context that matters. It's very simple. He says, just look at the Greek. You realize the mythos are almost always centered around drugs and satire. Almost always. What do you mean by that? Does that mean, I don't know what you mean by almost always. If that's your approach, then you're going to see it everywhere. But I fully disagree with this statement right here, that the mythos are almost always centered around drugs and satire. No, it's not. Unless it tells you it is, you can't just, I don't know, maybe you just want it to be there. If you want it to be there, go ahead. But it's not convincing. I can say whatever I want about any text. Just say, I think every single ancient Greek source is about fishing. And then they're all about fishing. And then if I find anything that has to do with a piece of wood, that's a pole. If I find anything that has to do with bait, or like, I don't know, if it talks about insects in one of these sources, that's bait. Like, I could just make up whatever. Like, you could just keep doing that for anything you want. And I don't know. Think about the methodology.
Let's see if the audio works here.
Pronunciation we're using. Guess what pronunciation we're using? We're using that which I was taught in the United States west of the Mississippi River in the 20th. That's what we're using. We're not going to use the original because the original Greek was accented via tone, right? Oh, God, it had a pitch accent to it. And what are you going to do? We don't have that, right? We are stress accent speakers. We are marching in a single line. The Greeks are not. Philosophia. Look at that phi that starts out this word. Philosophia. Now, I had one instructor from Arizona tell me this is really an aspirated P, so it should be pronounced philosophia, right? But 99% of the classes that I was ever around pronounced it philosophia. Okay, shout out to that one loner. Notice the accent.
So right now you're playing a collage of things that he's spot on, right? Is that what I'm
This is
right
so
now?
far he's right. So far he's spot on. He's acknowledging the fact that ancient Greek, or at least classical Greek, was pronounced in a certain way with via tone, with aspirated P and instead of F, but we are choosing to pronounce it incorrectly because in the United States of America, west of the Mississippi, they teach it this way. This is the way I learned it. This is not correct. And it's fine. Like, we all accept that this is not, we're using an anachronistic pronunciation on purpose. Nothing wrong with that. Like, I have no objections to any of this. I'm not making fun of him. This is actually true. And I'm using that little chime to show that he's pronouncing things correctly. This is, he's good. Good.
Right.
Is that little slash above the omicron, second to last letter. The only thing you're going to do with that accent is you're going to stress it. You're going to spend twice as much time on it. Are you ready? The proper pronunciation is okeanos. Okay.
He had a little
There
bit
we
of an os. He had a little bit of an os sound. Isn't that
It's Erasmian, yeah.
That's Erasmian, yeah. I was gonna
So
say
he
that's
said
not bad.
he pronounces omega as O and omicron as A, because even though no Greek in history ever did that.
But you remember when
it's
you first took me on as a student? Remember what I was doing?
Yeah, you were saying
I was doing exactly that.
logos.
I thought I was under the impression that was the Attic pronunciation, that omicron and omega, but it's omicron and omega.
Yeah, omicron. Well, not omicron. It's omicron is small o, and omega is big O, which would have been a double omicron, so it would have been O instead of O, but never A.
Yeah. So really, he's actually doing more of a modern I'm surprised you didn't.
He's doing he does a very academic sort of run of the mill pronunciation.
But it's modern though. It's
modern. Yeah, it is. It is the way no Greek ever said for omicron.
Okeanos.
Okeanos. That's not.
It's okeanos.
Yeah. Go back 4,000 years. You would have never.
Why does he get to criticize you for doing eta?
It's because there's a stigma against modern Greek in academia.
Even though he's doing it too. Okay.
Okeanos. It's not okeanos, and it's not okeanos, and it's not okeanos. It's okeanos. You're putting a little extra time on that syllable where the stress act.
So he knows this. Obviously,
this is all correct. He's explaining it perfectly. Like, But
you'd think so. You'd think when it comes to lay stays, there's nothing to question here. Or Sindon, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
nothing to see
for
here.
some reason he drops the fundamentals when it comes to his own theories.
Yeah.
Accent this. Let's go to the next one. Look what that person did. Mimetikos. Look at that first letter, people. It's a mu. Mimetikos. You hear that time?
So
he fixed it.
When he fixed it on the second time, but did he do that on purpose? Was that part of his?
I think he just got real excited and he was like mimetikos, and then he realized like, I'm teaching pronunciation. I should probably check myself.
I better tweak that better, right?
He checked himself. Yeah.
Accent mimetikos, not mimetikos, not mimetikos, and not mimetikos. It's mimetikos, and the Greek wants to accent itself on one of the last three syllables, and originally that is a pitch up. It's a pitch up. It's very musical. Greek is very musical. Zoe. Look at the Zoe.
You just got it wrong 3 times in a row, dude. You're supposed to be teaching right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's life. And if you capitalize that, that's her. That's her. I just want you to stop for a second.
Wait, he never even fixed it though.
He didn't notice it.
This is such a simple Zoe.
Yeah. Or Zoe.
He's
right?
He's not on it. This is not a master at the craft right here. Sorry. I don't care that I've only been doing this for a couple of years. I don't care. I know a master. Luke Ranieri is a master. This is not a master. Luke Ranieri is not going to say Zoe 3 times in a row. He's going to say Zoe. And he's so, you watch Luke's videos, He's so obsessed with hitting the vowel perfectly. Can I pull that up where he does that video at the vowels?
Well, he usually said, yeah. Well, he would say zdoe. And for the commenter saying we don't really know, we really do know. Actually,
No,
we
we
know
know.
pretty well.
Yeah, we have.
This has all been thoroughly studied.
Yeah, we have tons of primary sources from the ancient and the Middle Ages that described all this stuff.
We have commentaries from Greek grammarians. We have spelling mistakes that reflect the pronunciation in certain eras and certain regions. It's all very, very well. Historical linguistics in Greek is extremely well understood.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up that video from Luke, and then we're going to talk about Greece before we go.
Okay.
That's her. I just want you to stop for a second. Zoe. When I make that noise, Zoe. Keep going.
He taught his 101 students wrong. He did it 5 times. Like, I'm sorry, I have to watch that back. Did he just get this wrong 5 times in a row? Holy shit.
It's pitch up. It's very musical. Greek is very musical. Zoe. Zoe. Look at the Zoe.
So if anyone's watching this who just doesn't know Greek and is like, well, how come you guys are right and Ammon's wrong? Look, just as he said, remember he pointed, what did he call it? The mark? What did he call it? A mark?
He said he explained that when you see that accent, you just pause on that syllable and give it a little extra emphasis than the other. That's normal. Yeah.
He's saying Zoe, not Zoe.
Zoe. Yeah.
He said 5 times.
Oh, that's life. And if you capitalize that, that's her. That's her. I just want you to stop for a second. Zoe. When I make that noise, Zoe. Keep going. We got to hurry. Grafe. That's any kind of writing. Grafe. Look at the gamma up front.
Oh my God. How bad is this? Are you guys seeing this? No,
yeah, I don't.
Look at Steven. I know. Ad playing in the background. I know that when people are reading Greek to like an audience on the spot, you're going to miss stresses. I'll do it too. But if you're claiming to be teaching 101 and you're teaching right now, the topic is accents. He's teaching accents. He's not talking about something else and then getting the accent wrong. He's pretending to be teaching accents and getting it wrong. And it'd be like me going, hello, everybody. Today we're going to learn Math 101. 1 + 1 is 5. And next, 2 + 2 is 7. And then, like, you're just completely going on and just getting 2 things wrong in a row. This is crazy shit. This is not a master.
But the pattern is when you have a disyllabic word that is oxytone that has the stress on the last syllable, he usually is inclined to pronounce it in the second to last syllable because as an English speaker, that's typically what we do. We have loan words from French, like so we say valet because it's a French word, right? Otherwise, we would say valley or something. You know, we as English speakers, it's very comfortable for us to pull the stress over onto that onto the second to last syllable. We don't like the stress on that last syllable unless it's a loan word from French, basically.
Somebody just said that I don't even have a GED. Nope, actually I have a college degree, so you're wrong about that.
Well, but the thing is, like, okay,
you don't have to be a master to know that graphe has the accent on A at the end. You can see it on the screen.
It's marked, yeah.
It's marked, and he's teaching 101 stress marks and pronunciation. He's getting it wrong on the spot. This is not a master, dude. Sorry, cope harder.
Gamma, you're gonna drink the thanasimon. Do you see that word, the thanasimon? Look at that. It's got 2 accents. Isn't that nice? They're gonna drink these thanasimon, and it's not gonna hurt them. Why are they gonna be able? Now, first of all, that word thanasimon. That's the word for a pharmacological preparation, a drug. You're going to drink thanasimon.
So you can see, like, he goes back and it's like thanasimon.
Yeah, so that's Mark 16:18, right?
Yeah.
And so, this is the one that Danny Jones was recently asking me about, where Ammon retranslates that to make it a drug. It is a deadly poison.
Well, so he refers to it as a thanasimon, like it's a noun. It is an adjective. So thanasimonti means something poisonous, something deadly. That's what it
So
means.
it's like a deadly drink. Look,
Poisons are drugs. It's like
yeah,
it could,
it's a drug.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I grant, obviously, but the context matters because what he's saying there is, if you have the Holy Spirit, you'll be able to, pick up snakes with your hands and drink deadly poisons, and it won't hurt you. So it's not like they're saying we need to do this. Like everyone do this as part of a ritual. It's basically saying it's like some theological bullcrap. It's actually so much more boring than I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
because in the context, he's saying you're going to drink poison and you're going to survive it because you're going to have magical powers, right? You're going to
Right.
be imbued with power.
I wanted to pull up this real quick, this video right here, just to show some people this dude
Yeah.
Luke, who's going to be in my next video next month, the one I drop doing about Ammon. He's writing, he's going to submit us a nice little clip for the video about Ammon, about some of the stuff he noticed.
This IPA symbol represents a high, front, unrounded vowel. And the order there is also important. That's normally how we describe them, that it's high and it's front and that it's unrounded. So that's the height, the backness, and the roundness. U goes here. U is a high,
Nice.
back, rounded vowel. So unlike E, it is rounded. U. Well, this raises the question, if E is a high front unrounded vowel, does there exist a high front rounded vowel? Yes. And that is the sound U. So U is exactly the same as E. That is, the height of the tongue and the jaw are the same. E. And then what we do, instead of allowing the lips to be essentially relaxed or more open from side to side, we round the lips as if it were like an oo sound. But it's just the lips. Everything inside the mouth stays the same. And if you've never made an u sound
Here's what
before,
I want to play this part right here.
the vowel is.
Want to know how to create awesome videos? Check out Motion.
The brothel had to come in and take their clips out of this.
And if the open central unrounded vowel is ah, then this open front unrounded vowel must be ah. Now, to an American ear, this vowel sounds pretty much the same as the Italian vowel, like parlare or amare, but it's just a little bit more fronted. And notice there's not a lot of space on this open lower axis here, so it can get pretty tight. So the sound of Italian, like amare,
Oh, is this for like everything?
This is just general international phonetic alphabet tutorial. I wasn't sure why you were playing that one in particular. He has a lot of stuff though.
Like this guy, when it comes to pronouncing Greek and Latin, obviously, he is like a wizard at this.
Is
stuff.
not the sound that this combination of letters makes in Greek. How is it supposed to sound? Why do I care? So, classical Attic refers to the Greek spoken by Athenians who lived in Attica.
Anyway,
That's the
you
region
guys
in
get the
which-
picture. This guy's a nerd. He's a great nerd. We all love nerds here. So I'm a nerd. We're all nerds.
So I sent him that full 6-minute clip that we were playing of to get his feedback. I don't know. We don't know yet what he's going to provide feedback on exactly. We gave him a lot of stuff to go over and just told him to give us like his impressions.
Yeah. Now we're going to Greece, right?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to just have a little fun, just dig into some Ammon stuff. It's fun because it forces me to look at these sources that I might not have been paying attention to. So I like it.
Yeah, Philoxenus was great. I loved reading Philoxenus. It was very fun.
That was a great source. I'm glad he pulled it up. And I wanted to say, good source. Put that in your theory folder. Put that in your jigsaw puzzle folder. They have the whole jigsaw puzzle full of sources that they put together to make it all make sense. You know what I mean? Connecting the dots. It's so funny. It's bad methodology, but it's fun to do. Anyways, we're going to Greece and we're going to be filming. So what's any updates on that we haven't talked about last time?
Just making, I don't know yet what I have permission to interview and film at a couple of different Greek Orthodox churches that are going to be very close to where you're staying in Plaka, a little bit north of there. And so like one of them is a very, very old Byzantine era church. I think they're both actually Byzantine era churches. And we're going to talk
Google Street Map view of it.
Yeah. So let's see. No, I got.
Are you want to do it?
Boom.
Yeah, I'll let you do it.
All right. So, boom. See that?
Where's the? Okay, let's show us where the Acropolis is and everything.
Okay, so here's the Acropolis.
Yep.
Right. Here's Plaka, and the churches that we're looking at are. Wait a minute. What am I gonna? Oh, okay. Here we go. I gotta get back. Okay, so these are the two churches that we're gonna scout.
And we're going to we're going to ask them what their thoughts are on the rise of Hellenism back in Greece and the Temple of Pan.
Neo-paganism. So one of them is the Holy Metropolitan Church of the Hieros Metropolitikos, right? So this one here, and the Annunciation of the Virgin Mary Church. And then the other one is this one, Capnicarea. This is a really cool one. Look at that.
Yeah. That's
Byzantine era.
You can tell.
So we're gonna be there for Easter, and we're gonna hopefully interview the.
Oh, and I want to film, and that's what I wanted to ask them in the email. Is it okay if we film the Eucharist?
I haven't broached that topic of exactly what we can film, because obviously there are going to be people.
That's a big deal. They might not let us.
They're gonna. I mean, because they're. Yeah, people will have to be comfortable being on camera taking the Eucharist, and I don't know.
It might not happen. Maybe we can get him to do like a fake, act like you're in church right now. We're gonna film you breaking up the bread and showing, holding the wine or something. I just want to get some real on the ground Greek Orthodox in Greece, what they're doing over there, what they look like, what is their modes and stuff, as well as contrast that with the rise of Hellenism, going to the Temple of Pan, going to some of these modern pagan spots, and go and show them. And so, look, this is all what's happening in Greece right now. There's two sides right now. There's the Christians, and then there's the neo-pagans. And
so on day one, we're probably going to walk over on this road on the side of the Acropolis. You can see there's the Erechthio, and we're going to walk around on here. We're going to come up to the entrance. And this is where we're going to come in and go through the Propilia, right? So we're going to walk up. You see the people, right? This is the entrance, right? So we're going to come up, walk up around here, and go into the, oh shoot, my browser's frozen. There we go. Through the Propilia and onto the Acropolis. And there is the Parthenon. Boom.
You're going to be filming all that stuff.
All right, I gotta stop sharing. My browser's messing up.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's
So yeah, day one is the Acropolis. Right in the morning, right when they wake up, when they open at 8 a.m. Then maybe the Acropolis Museum from there. We might stop by those churches and say hi to the priests that we're going to be interviewing. And then either we get in a taxi or maybe we rent a car, drive down to Cape Sunio. Go drive all the way down the coast. That's a pretty long drive.
Yeah. And then we also have, so that'll be the first 10 days or so that you just mentioned. And then, remember, we're over here in Athens. And then we're going to travel all the way to here, 2-hour ride, to go and see Arcadia, where the Temple of Pan is. And also, somewhere over here, is the Temple of Epidaurus. Right?
Yeah. Let me share again. I pulled my thing up. It won't glitch this time, and I can show where that stuff is because I have markers on the map.
Let's show that.
All right. So yeah, if you, it is glitching actually. Is it glitching for you, or is it just glitching for me?
It's glitching a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'll try not to move it too much. So here, these dots are where the I think these are like the two. The temple is somewhere around here. I don't know exactly where it is, and it's not marked on the map, probably for good reason. So this is where it is in the region of Arcadia, and then Epidavros, right, is here. Epidauros, right? Epidavros in Greek. Here it is, right here. Epidavros. So this is where the Temple of Asclepius is. So I don't know if you're going to be able to come over here, but here's the stadium, the Asclepion, stadium at the Asclepion in Epidavros. I have never been here, and I will be very jealous if you
I'm
get to
looking
go.
forward to this.
Yeah.
Because this is where all these magic healings went down. There's primary sources from Epidaurus that talk about people who are blind that can see again, people that were lame and can walk again. And these are like in the centuries leading up, like 2nd century, 1st century BCE, leading up to the Gospels. And it makes you wonder, there's some competition going on with the Asclepian cult. And here's this God, if you lay in his temple overnight and pray to him, he'll heal you. And he comes. He was an epiphany God. He's a God that comes. That was like the kind of thing that was happening. It was these battles of these epiphany gods. Dionysus was an epiphany God. Asclepius was an epiphany God. You know what I mean? And then Jesus was definitely an epiphany God. He comes in the flesh. He literally comes in the flesh. That's like a physical epiphany. So, what else? And then I plan on trying to hit Crete. I just recently added this to my possibilities. If I'm going to be, because I can probably get to Crete if I'm in Santorini, right?
Well, if you're in Santorini, you're still a pretty decent boat ride away from Crete. My recommendation for you is get a morning round trip ticket to Iraklio, which is this airport here on the north side of Crete. And from the airport, take a taxi to Knossos. This is the Knossos. This is the palace right here. So this is 20 minutes from the airport. It is the coolest archaeological site I personally have ever seen.
That's the oldest
Minoan
structure.
temple. Yeah.
That's the Minoan temple.
This
that's right there, under that spot. There's a settlement that goes back to 7,000 BC.
Yeah.
Not that layer right there. That's the Minoan 2000 BC layer that you're looking at right now. But below that, archaeologists kept digging and they go, dude, there's an even older layer that goes back to the late Stone Age. 7,000 BCE is still the Stone Age. You're not even in Copper Age yet.
This is the throne room. This is the throne room.
Yeah.
And there is a place when you're outside of this temple that you look down on the ground and they've excavated an ancient pipe that had a diameter that got like smaller as like it pushes. Basically, there were people that it was indoor plumbing that would get the water to go uphill because of the way that they manipulated the diameters of the pipes. Like, it is insane. Like this archaeological site is mind blowing, and it's 20 minutes. So basically, you fly into the airport, you take a taxi here. You're ready to go back to Athens, like then go back to the airport and go home, or there's a few other places you could go in Crete. Crete is a huge island.
That is the ultimate birthplace of this whole entire Mediterranean world right there.
Yeah.
It's the oldest known civilization in the Mediterranean right there. Besides Egypt, obviously. But this goes back to like I said, there's a structure there. Some sort of farming agricultural structure layer going back to 7,000 BCE. Like, wrap your head around that. This is so old. We get to go there.
This is the site. This is Akrotiri. Akrotiri is the site on Santorini. If you go to Santorini, you're going to if you make it there, then this is where the earthquakes have been happening. I don't know what the current status is on Santorini, but I think it's been dying down. Like, I think it's I don't know. The earthquakes have been happening in this zone right here between Santorini and Amorgos. So this is where the fault line. This is where basically the African plate is like sliding under the Aegean plate. So there's some seismic activity that's been earthquake swarms have been happening there for over a month now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make the best out of it. Obviously, almost a whole month we're gonna have to be there. So we're gonna have enough time to get a lot of footage, get a lot of good interviews of people that are there, and maybe even go live a few times while we're there. I'm gonna work on that too. So so I don't know. If you're on Patreon or if you're a member, shoot me an email or message me on there. And if you have any ideas for the trip that you have in mind, places that you think we should cover. S. Mill with the $10 says, looking for instances of apophenia in classic text interpretation by classic readers like Basilides, thought 15th year of Tiberius is 15th of Tybee for Jesus' baptism. Interesting. Any sources you know that cover this? I never even thought about this. That there's maybe some sort of confusion between this, because you know what he means by 15th of Tybee, right?
Yeah, the Egyptian
Remember
calendar.
that source that we found
Mhm.
where it talks about the baptism at the 15th of Tybee from Clement?
Yeah, I think I have it. Yep.
I guess what Esmail is alluding to, is there anyone that thinks that maybe there was a confusion between the 15th year of Tiberius and the 15th of Tybee? I never thought about
thought of
that.
that.
Very
Never
fascinating.
thought about that either.
Did you pull that source up, or
I was looking, because I 15. I was gonna find it. 15 of.
That would be very fascinating if that's where that came from, where it was really just an Egyptian, because the month of Tybee is an Egyptian month. It's not a Roman. It's not a Roman calendar thing. That's an Egyptian calendar. 15th of Tybee translates to the 6th of January. That's what that means. So it's just January 6th.
Yeah, I mean, like Clement. I have the Clement source.
Right
So
here?
this is the 15th year of Tiberius,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. No, this Clement one is the one where he mentions. Let's see. Let's look at the source. And our Lord was born in the 28th year. Let's see. Is it the next one?
Man, my browser's really bugging out.
Is it?
So 15th year. Let's see. Maybe I don't have it here. Okay, here we go. Here, this is Epiphanius.
Oh yeah. That's what. Okay. Epiphanius. There's a couple of them though. Yeah, Epiphanius is the big one. No, I'm pretty sure Clement does too, but maybe we just don't have that one there. Okay, so Clement does mention this, but this is another one of these sources where he actually cites the source that Clement mentions. And here you can see it has the Tybee. Now the only thing about that in Greek, Tube is Tybee, right? Tube. So Tiberius would be Ti.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of, when you get to the Greek and the Latin, they look way different. But when you translate them both in the English, they look similar all of a sudden. So it might be us seeing that. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's just us seeing it, but it's an interesting idea. Like, worth exploring some of these sources.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that was a fascinating question. Anyways, so I think that's it.
Those are all the super chats.
Yeah. That was the last super chat. But yeah, so Athens for 10 days or so. Hit up Arcadia. Hit up the Mycenaean / Spartan world.
Yeah, maybe you could hit so many things. You could hit Corinth on the way to Arcadia. You could then
obviously Delphi while we're up there.
No, well, Delphi's so the Arcadia is in the Peloponnese. Delphi is going to
be before we go to Arcadia.
Yeah, that'd have to be a separate trip.
Yeah,
and then from Arcadia, maybe you could go due east and like go by Mycenae and then go to Epidavros, and then up and around and back to Attica. That would be a cool road trip.
Oh, he says Clement Stromata. That's the one. I'm pretty sure you had that source in that folder because we talked about it before.
Yes, but my browser's being really buggy and I don't know.
Oh, you just passed it. I just saw you just passed it.
Stromata.
On this day, it says on the 15th day. I saw it. You just went past it really quick for some reason. Just now.
Yeah, because I can't even see.
Go back. There it is, right here. You just passed it again.
This one. Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is it.
You see that?
Yeah. Okay. This is the one right before it. Right before it. You got to keep going. Is it that one that's glitching out?
Here's the month of Tybee, 15th of the month of Tybee.
That's it. This is the one. Okay, so it's remember you and I were going back and said, what does he mean by Antain Hemeron? On the day. Remember you and I were thinking, like, does he mean this is the day of the baptism and the birth? So, anyways, this is why we were studying this one. But it does say on the bottom, the 15th, Pente Padekaton to Tubi. So the 15th day of the month of Tubis, Menos.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to correct this because this is wrong.
What you got wrong here?
It's just the transcription that I copied and pasted from the source. It had pendekedejato, so it was transcribing the he as transcribing kappas as he, and it's all wrong. Sorry, it's like embarrassing to have it there.
So yeah, this is an older source going to around 200 AD that mentions this 15th day of Tubi. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's something to look into.
But definitely, you can see here that it's Tiveriu Kesaros, right? Like, so it's the T with an iota, and then it's tube or to be, right? Like it's a different vowel.
Yes. In the Greek,
one is an upsilon and the other is an iota, and that's not likely. Those were pronounced differently until pretty late in the Hellenistic period.
And they're both. What's interesting about this? They're both present. So you get, and they say it was the 15th year of Tiberius, and also the 15th month of Tybee.
Yeah.
So this author is separating those two. Like there's no confusion there.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's 15. So I don't know.
But some like textual variants could slip into the tradition. Somebody could misspell something, and all of a sudden, someone's making an association that wouldn't have been made otherwise.
It happens all the time, right?
Yeah,
that's common. But okay, so we are leaving. It is the 5th right now, and we're going to be in the plane. What, on the 9th?
Yes, I come to visit you in Florida. I'm going to see you and Derek on Tuesday. Wednesday night we leave, and then Thursday we arrive because we lose a day. So we arrive Thursday evening, and then Friday morning wake up, hit the Acropolis. I got our. Wait a minute. Okay. Here's our tickets to the Acropolis.
Nice.
Boom.
That's crazy.
So this is for Friday morning.
We're going to be blessed by the Virgin Mother, Athena. Parthenon. That's what it's named after, the Virgin. Parthenon.
Yeah, so we queue up. We should queue up at like 7:30 to be like the first in line, and then right when they open at 8, you get through the crowd. Because if you show up at like 8 o'clock, or like if you show up 5 minutes early, there's already usually a big line. I don't know what it maybe beginning of April is not going to be too bad, but like in June it was disgusting. It was just like the line just goes so far down the hill, and especially if you go in the summer, if you go in June, you have to hit the 8 a.m. opening because by 8:30 it's unbearable. Like
really?
You get 30 minutes. You get 30 minutes up there, and once the sun starts beating down on the marble and reflecting back at you, you're done. But we don't have to endure that because it's probably going to be overcast. The weather's overcast, and it's going to be like 60-something degrees, and we can
throw on a raincoat.
Yeah,
some nice long pants. You're good to go.
We can just stroll and get really good footage.
Yeah, I can't. I'm hoping for overcast. I like overcast, and I can get a little raincoat to throw over the camera. Just put it over on so it doesn't get wet if it gets a little drizzly.
Yeah, we got. Wait a minute, okay, so yeah, it's like it'll probably be like 65. It's the weather forecast in Greek.
Oh, nice. That's perfect.
So at night it'll be 50, and during the day it'll be 65.
That's hoodie weather.
Yeah.
That's hoodie and Tim's weather.
And then by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it'll be sunny, and during the daytime temperature will be 74, 75 on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
No clouds. So we'll get clouds on the weekends. On this weekend.
We'll get to see Zeus throw his
first weekend.
thunderbolt. Get to
Yeah.
see the bolts of Zeus. That's what you want. You want to go to Greece and get some thunder and see some, because they're like experiencing Zeus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, April's great. June is starting to get like July's unbearable, August is unbearable, and then like September is not like my recommendation is like May, like April, May is good, and then September, but like skip the summer unless you know for a fact you're just going to be swimming in the Aegean. Like you have beachfront property. Fall's nice.
Of October, that's Bacchus season in ancient Greece, so that's a good time to go there.
Yeah, and they harvest olives in like November.
Yeah,
the harvest season.
That's crazy. Yeah, they have a weird. I was reading about that when I was researching all these agricultural cycles, where we think we presuppose wherever you grow up, me Buffalo, New York, we presuppose that our nature system is how everyone in the ancient world had it. So they had the same winter as us, we had the same fall as us. But we don't realize that in different climates they have totally different seasons, and they have different times where they plant, different times where they Athens is not doing the same thing as Egypt's doing, and Egypt's not doing the same thing as Italian farmers are doing. They're all doing different things. You got to read the sources to find that. Yeah. You're not going to find some universalist. Oh, on this day of the year, this is what happens, and they do this. No, all the farmers are doing different things depending on where you are. So that's why in some sources the Adonia festival was in midsummer, and in other sources it's in springtime. Different places had different weather. That's what it is. So, anyways, that's it. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, crossbible.com. Let me just throw this up. Let me just
just share the crossbible.com. Share the YouTube link. I got.
Let me go to YouTube.
Yeah. If people could, give me some. If you find any of the topics of my videos interesting, give those a watch. Invested a lot of time into my recent 1-hour documentary on the full history of Hebrew and Greek and English and history of lexicography. It's like a 1-hour jam-packed documentary that I sunk a lot of research into. A couple of other ones on the history of the critical text, the Textus Receptus, the history of the Septuagint. A lot of stuff that would love to get more engagement on, more views on. If anybody is interested in watching those, yeah.
Put the link in the chat.
When we get back from Greece, I'm gonna put together some stuff with the footage we get and start releasing more regular content after May when we get back.
All right. Well, now the brothel's paid, so we can end the show now because. We had to make sure the brothel gets its pay. That's all. That's a must. Hail the brothel. But anyways, all right. Let's close this thing out, and I'll see y'all later.
I guess. Okay. So people are asking for an ETA on the Carl Ruck stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that.
That's a good point. That's okay. So you and I we were planning on this trip to Greece, and then we realized let's go sooner.
Yeah.
So we're working on that video that you and I did some recording on. We talked to Kyle Ruck. We got his back. We got the whole back and forth with Kyle Ruck ready to go. That's all ready. All the footage is ready and just needs to be edited. And we're waiting on Luke to send us his thing, which will be have while we're in Greece. Then when I get back from Greece, I'm going to be working on a video I'm going to be working on my first video for Greece. Everything that I'm doing right now is for Greece. Ammon took a back burn. He's in the back burner for a minute. He's secondary. We got bigger fish to fry than Ammon Hillman right now. But it will be out by the end of May. So if you want a realistic ETA, by the end of May, Ammon Hillman video will be done. What do you think?
And people are asking about why you're editing it. We don't have an on-camera interview with Carl Ruck. That's not going to be the
way we did it was more magazine style. That's how he wants it. The same way Ammon did it, by the way. Ammon interviewed Ruck through email, took all of his answers, brought it to his channel, and read them on the channel. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it a little more professional. We're actually going to have voiceover of Ruck with Ruck on the screen and his exact words. And so it's going to be more interactive that way. That's why we're editing it. But everyone can feel free to email Ruck and get his thoughts on it.
No, please don't. Leave the guy alone.
Well, I know people are going to go,
Yeah.
how do I know this really happened? The same way. This is what Ruck does. He's co-signing this. So
Yeah. Well, there's already the conspiracy theories are already starting. We're editing it to lie. We're gonna make
well, we'll deal with it as it comes. Of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. Why wouldn't they? They have to. They have to keep the tradition alive. They have to keep the faith burning. Faith in the burning purple. They can't let it go. Got to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, you won't see it. Only those who believe in it can see it. Once you believe in it, you'll see it in every single text that you open up. All you got to do is have faith. See how that works? It's really how it works too. So, but yeah, like I said, we got all the footage. We got all the elements ready to go. It's all recorded. Back and forth is done. We got all of Ruck's statements. Ruck is done. My part is done. Your part is done. We're going to put it all together. Like I said, I got bigger fish to fry right now, and that's Greece. And I'm working on that documentary first. And then the Ammon video will be out. Until then, we'll be jumping on some lives like this and just kind of doing some back and forth stuff. So that's it, right?
That is it.
All right. Now you've just attained true gnosis.
You have just attained true gnosis. The demiurge has no power over you.